to have been a cult. This is not true. Shenanigans are afoot. Shenanigans! Sarah saying, it's a travel story. Went on holiday to Tenerife. Parents were 15. Had to be up at 3 a.m. for flight. Still sleepy. Got waved at by people in a limo on the way there. On the way back, had the passport photo taken. The airport after we got off of... Okie dokie. God darn it. God darn it. It's going to be a feckin' day. Right. Well, the good news is our next little goal involves helping our teeny tiny friend from under the mountain. So, I know we said that we were going to come back to the longing after 400 days, but after yesterday's successes, we have gotten our little friend's world to the point where time is zipping by. We've explored the full caves. Really, the only things that we've got left to do is decide how we want to tap out from that one. So that's where we're at right now, friends. Oh, Dash says, and the quest for the red curtain as well. Oh, well, and Fearless, good to hear that. Good to hear you got good comms with Hairbrain Schemes, because I really like that squad. They're a real good bunch of people. Oh, sweet mercy in a cup. Okie Lokies. Scump says, can't be around for all of this. I'd say leaning towards jumping in the old man's bucket or whatever you need to do for that. Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm definitely feeling that way. I keep thinking more and more about what the face said, and I genuinely think that... Yeah, I'm genuinely of the opinion that if we follow the king, it's going to lead to bad. I keep thinking about how the face was saying that the king's goal is to stop longing. But if he stops longing, he stops time. And that just got me thinking, like, that's a wee bit worrying. Oh. Alright, let's get this game. Okay, I'm just like, wait, jump in the old back pocket. What? So Dash is saying, I'm not showing that following the king leads to bad, but I do agree that it might not be what we wish for. Yeah. I'd happily like to see our little... I'd like to see our little person see the outside world be happy. We know that the little child troll thing will absolutely freak out. So... Oh, Catcher says, I left after we beat Angst. What's this bucket business? Okay, so we've worked out how we get out. The blind old man, every day, he does laps back and forth and lowers his little bucket to get water from the well. We want to be in that when he brings it up. So long as we're not in there with when the troll does it, that'll kill us. If I remember correctly. That's where I'm leaning to. Let's get in game and go from there. But right now, it does feel like, I don't know, the king kind of just brought us into existence and left us with nothing. I don't know why that's left me with like a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, but it really has. Alright, smooth jams. I need you to go over here. Video games, I need you to go over here. Gameplay, I need you to go over here. Nom Nom says, I haven't been able to follow the longing for much, but if we get killed, what's the punishment? It's over. One of the available options is just swan dive into the darkness. Now, there are ways in which you can restart your game, but that's like delete your cloud save level. Once it's over, it's over. Oh, wow, it did not... I guess it skipped forward 10 days. We can go check out to see what happened with the, whatchamacallit. We can check out to see what happened with the... Oh, feck, what's it called? Oh, the Statue of Treasure. And no, I wouldn't say that's harsh. It's more a case of it makes a very clear statement. Like, you're investing 400 days into a game. The ending that you choose matters. So it's not like it insta-kills you. You don't just fall off a ledge and die. Oh yeah, a little green fire. There's a little bed. It's made out of like a little moss stuff. And it's super cute. Just gotta wait for all the... Wait for the shrooms to grow. I can't remember if we have to like plant and replant them. I don't know if they grow of their own volition. I forget. And then we've got our little stuff down there, which is real cool. I know this is an absolute like tonal pace change from an airport for aliens run by dogs. And Cam said we don't actually know what we are other than a shade. Like, we seem to be alive and sentient, but I don't think we're made of coal, if that makes a weird sense. So yeah, I want to go check on the treasure to see if we've cracked that open. Which I think the fastest way to get there from there. And we could check out... the secret tower. See if whatever it... I'm guessing it's like a bird or a heron or something that dislodges the key. But for the most part, I think now is the time. Beardro says days. I thought it was in-game days. Well, yes and no. It's 200 days real time if you do nothing. It's all from the Shade's perspective. The idea being that if we just started the game and then turned it off, we'd be able to finish it 400 days later. Favor 6. I mean, absolutely the last game left me... There can always be more days. Sorry. But yeah, the idea of this game is that the better we make our little Shade's life when he's in his little room, the faster time passes. So since yesterday and today, 10 days have passed. One of the crew did the maths of how long we had left, and it was only 15 days. So it'd be 15 real days. So if we did nothing... so today's the 29th. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. The game would be done by the 14th of next month. Well, and Nom Nom, the reason why I jumped on that one is because I don't... None of the deaths in this game are essentially a lost state. They are an end, certainly. But if you've been paying attention, like, there's no way that you can die in this in an uninformed manner. Like, the fact that the little kid will probably betray us and kill us that information is available to us. It's not a surprise. The cliff that you can throw yourself off of, you have to make a conscious choice to do thusly, and it's essentially it's not something that I agree with, but it's your character's choice. Is your choice to be like, okay, you know what? I'm done with this. Waiting for the king takes 400 days, but regardless of which ending you choose, once you're done, you're done. So if we just wait 400 days for the king, then the game is over. Once it's rolled the credits, unless you wipe everything back to zero, like cloud save and like Undertale levels of nonsense, unless you wipe everything right back down to zero, like the game is done. Sorry, I wouldn't call the Sniper 3 tower a secret tower, because everyone seems to know when I'm bloody up there. On account of the amount of bullets they get whizzed up. And yeah, so Beodora, you're not wrong thinking that the 15 days was... Ooh, gold. What does this do? Pick it up. A gold coin. Unsurprisingly, it's completely useless. Hey, I am not above stealing shiny golden coins for no reason. Yeah, if it's so useless, why does the king have so much of it? I don't know. But if we're getting out of here, it's nice to have a little starting fund. So yeah, our goal, I think, is head up. 30 coins should be fine. I feel like a dragon was here once, right? The thing, there's still a lot of this game I don't understand. And in a way, that's kind of cool, because for those of you who are looking to play this through yourself, there's still a lot to this. Alright, so that's where we need to be heading next. Alright. And now we play the waiting game. Oh, I feel as I see the shiny orb. Maybe if we collect enough coins, you can dislodge it to bring it closer. Could do. Oh yeah, we can put all the coins in the old man's bucket, so he can be like, oh dang, I don't know where that cash is coming from. I mean, the thing I am curious about was some of the paintings that were like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And sorry, Greenfire, Smaug was the dragon from The Hobbit. Otherwise known as Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh. Well, at least no one can say we're not doing indie games anymore, you know? Like, 2 days on interesting, fresh and different titles. It's going to be sad getting rid of the, this would have been the end of the longing stream in the schedule, but... Dominic Bantersnatch. Hedgewaldo. Blander Trapped. I'm sorry, that's all I got. That's all I got. I need this beautiful caffeinated beverage to do its job. Thelsby sounds like the perfect time for a Hollow Knight replay. Thelsby, I will admit, when we did it for Longship Day, like every part of my being started to be like, could just start playing Hollow Knight again. It didn't work. I tried to use the leftover stickers from my Gundam set to do fancy Xeon-themed nails, and it did not work. The stickers for this are not designed for that, but it was something to do last night. Bandito Cumberland. Yep, I'm pretty sure that's his real name. And Dash says, if we change our minds and decide to do the King ending, we could always park in the Pretty Crystal Waterfall and wait for 200 days. Yeah, time only skips forward faster when we're in our happy little home. God, and it's weird that we're going to be finishing this. That for our little shade to potentially have the highest chance of happiness, we have to finish early. Wondering what more secrets these caverns hold. Like, what else is in the halls of the never-ending halls? But what it does is it means that I know a lot of you wanted to play this, and a lot of you would like to play this yourselves. So you can go for the King ending. Hell, you can swan dive into the darkness if that's how you want your character story to go. Just, yeah, after Receiver, I like the idea of doing something that's just happy and beneficial to the character. Wow. Thelmsby, biggest respect. Greenfire was asking who can remember all the dwarves from The Hobbit, and Thelsby did 9 out of 13 like that. Yo. I gotta admit, see, I got, I say Red. I got Red 2 as a teeny tiny child. We did The Hobbit, then did Lord of the Rings. So it's so much of it I don't remember. Glorious book. I was lucky to have a parental unit that also skipped most of the poems and the songs. And Dash says they're also considering witnessing what happens if the troll fishes us up. Oh, and friends, this isn't like a speed to the end as well. So we need to get there. We need to wait till we see the old man heading to the water. And I have no idea how long that's going to take. I mean, of course, Billy Connolly was the best of the dwarves from The Hobbit. Sorry, I don't know. Why am I like this today? I apologise. That's being a snarky butt. Yeah, we want to make sure it's the old man that brings us up, not the child. So we can't just sit in the well and wait for a bucket because we're rolling the dice. Beodora. Keely was the worst movie dwarf. Too pretty, drools. I mean, the world was never made worse by having more pretty dwarven folk in. Prolo, you are an eternal treasure. Ah, yes, the dwarves. Keely, Philly, Orin, Glorin, Dwalin, Ballin, Thorin, Beefier, Bofier, Bomfer, Dory, Nori, and Ori the Blind Forest. I'm easily amused. Oh. Seriously, though, like, I'm occasionally funny. Occasionally. Sometimes just through process of saying a lot of stuff. Occasionally something will come out from my being that is entertaining. You know, occasionally I facilitate, occasionally I am genuinely funny. And then I come across, like, people like Xavier from today, like, with an Airport for Dogs, who can write funny. And I'm always incredibly impressed by that, because it's a talent I've never had. And especially I'm very nervous and very tired. It is always nighttime here. I overslept my alarm. There were so many, like, great sparkles of writing. Even if the frosted tips were a cry for help. Oh. Feck. What are we gonna... Now we're slowly plodding towards what could potentially be the end of this game. I'm like... I don't know. Don't even want it to be over. I mean, knowing this game, we may still have to wait for like an hour or two to try and find the old man and wait for him to show up. Because if I remember correctly, with the hours, it's a countdown. Dat Reb with, can't wait for the 800-day DLC. I mean, I'd get it. Do you know what 200 dags farting on a plane is like? Armageddon. That just broke me. Of course we don't serve carbonated water. 245 farting dogs in a metal tube. Do you know what that's like? And we could all imagine it. Graphite said, do we decide what ending we're going on? Unless anyone has any strong arguments against, we're gonna go for the old man. I'm going to bring the one of the glowing shrooms with us. I know they fade out after a while, but it makes a little bit of the journey easier, and you lot get to see a bit more. Oh, wow. That is a big-ass mushroom. I think we can use the Malak on it. Oh, and Datreb, the music on this is so glorious. Yeah. Use the Malak. This abomination is useless here. I will end its absurdity. A bit harsh. Yeah, Malak Secure, it is still tempting to just wander about the cave for a few more days. There's a button you can push that's just go to a random place. Greenfire was having a go around with the virtual backgrounds in Zoom. It's been a lot of fun. And Dash is like, I've never heard that splat sound before. Well, that's what you get for not sharing your curtains. Tatren, I want to walk around at night with a glowing mushroom in hand. Same. I was thinking about this the other night, and I do feel that a large proportion of pacing in games is about consistency. Because I was thinking about this. I tried playing the newest Ghost Recon game the other evening, and I would not recommend purchasing it. I can't say that it's wholly bad, but it is basically Sonic Adventure if you really, really, really like the Punisher. But anyway, the thing that I found very strange was that the hub area that you get kind of thrown into very early on feels really slow and really, really stifling. And I realized it's because they have changed movement speed in the hub area to slow you down, comparable to the rest of the world. And I was sitting there being like, wait, I genuinely love a game like The Longing, which takes me hours to get anywhere, in this slow rolling kind of style. But why am I frustrated with that same kind of melodic slowness, or I mean technically even faster, in another title? And it's because your movement around the world itself is very fast. But then when you're in the hub worlds, you're reduced to a crawl because of reasons. And Delsby, I'm glad you like that one, because when there was the first cutscene of you and the gentleman that played the Punisher in the Netflix TV show, who, by the way, when he announced that video game on stage, he came out with his dog. again, like with a lot of the big celebrity usage, they didn't use him well, and his facial capture is very flat and bland. But the reason why I compared it to Sonic Adventure or Sonic Heroes. Wait, no, Sonic Forces, the one where you get to make your own character. It does a bunch of scenes early on with your character that you've made for this game and his character doing cool stuff together to show the camaraderie you once had. And I'm like, is this a Sonic game for people who like Tom Clancy? Yeah, Bam Bam was one of the highlights of E3, no question. They must be saying, we're curious to see what will happen with Keanu and Cyberpunk. Alright, so fingers crossed, because the character that Keanu is playing in Cyberpunk is essentially a ghost. Or a cyber ghost. He is based on a very, very old character from the series. Johnny Silverhand or something cheesy like that. So, I am really hoping that they're not reliant on expensive facial capture. I want it to be good, I really do. And I think a larger portion of that want is because what little I know of Keanu as a person, it seems like they're good people, and that, you know, they were responsible for one of the most, you know, chipper and positive memes in gaming of "No, you're breathtaking." Like, that's something that we genuinely got. Personally, I am against like big money celebrity cameos in games because they rarely add, and they're very expensive. I'm still worried about Cyberpunk. They've spent a lot of money on like their public perception and how they're marketing that game and how they're selling it, and they have like a big headline celebrity as part of it. Those are usually warning bells for me. But I mean, this is the team that turned the first Witcher game into a very, very successful and very fun series. And they'll must be saying that apparently Keanu is the most lines in the entire games. Hopefully that means you'll spend a lot of time with this character. Yeah. And as much as he kind of got typecast back in the old Matrix days of just, whoa, he can act. And a character with a good deal of range could really add some flavor to it. I mean, I'm still going to be of the opinion of that if they had spent that money on Keanu in other places, would they have gotten more? But, you know. That was the whole of WoW Cinema. But I do need to put my hand up and say that we can't judge a piece of art before it's dropped. And while there are a lot of stuff that happened around Cyberpunk, I am guilty of doing this a lot of the time, of observing a game, seeing it early on, and drawing all of my conclusions ahead of time. It is entirely possible that they actually do it. It is entirely possible, like, with all the money they've had, the time and the attention, that maybe they do this. And I want to... benefit the doubt seems the wrong term, but I'm trying not to bring too many negative preconceptions towards it moving forward. Does that make sense? I'm not saying you'll have to follow me on that opinion quest. It was more just, that's my feels on it. You know? Because it is entirely possible to add a lot with a good, strong narrative character alongside yours. One of the things that can fall down in like open world titles like that is that as you're playing a silent protagonist, it can often feel like you don't have a voice in the world, no pun intended. That characters talk at you and that your choices are within their constraints, not yours. And having a good, strong character to bring that narrative thread through could work real well. But anyway, we also have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 to look forward to, and that's going to be set in Seattle, so there. That's the one I'm going to get my hopes up for. I want to go underneath Pioneer Square, and I want to eat some humans, I haven't even decided what clan we're going to be. Oh. Yeah, Remy Senpai. Yeah, we'll have to ask Rami back on the show and ask how he feels about being a hot vampire in a new video game. Dashgirl saying they're very much looking forward to Dashgirl's return. They haven't played their character's handle in a long time. And, okay, Sorry, I hope you don't think that I am skipping over any of your comments about, like, CD Projekt Red, representation, and things like that. They have had a problem with how they've been representing themselves. A lot of that has come from, like, social media teams and things like that, which, with the way at which CD Projekt Red has grown from a country that is not native English, I'm not letting them off the hook for stuff they have said and done on social media in the past, but they have had a habit of giving questionable individuals free reign and then having to pull them back in. CD Projekt Red grew very quickly as... GOG's done good. It's not one of the big players, but it's survived longer than other competitors have. But, you know, let us not forget that The Witcher 1 did alright, but not great. The Witcher 2 did better. The Witcher 3 was their big, big winner. So we're still seeing them grow and unfold. The words I hear from the grapevine is that CD Projekt Red as a studio has a very, very strong studio culture that you either fit into or you don't. And if you don't, it's not great. But I can only say that as like second and third hand information. Cyberpunk has so much hype around it, and is based in a sphere of nerd culture that weirdly got left by the wayside for a long time. Much like space games, much like roguelikes and things like that. And creating good cyberpunk adventures is a very, very difficult thing. They have had a lot of feedback on a lot of the things that they have put forward, and we can only wait and see from this point. Yeah, and ultimately, we'll know in 5 months. Ark of the Conclave's like, I kind of hope the angst is still there. I don't! If we see those feckin' yellow eyeballs peeking out in the darkness, I'm gonna freak the feck out. But yeah. Win, lose, or draw, it's going to be a fascinating thing to observe and disseminate. Thelma's besides, how do we know we're going in the right direction? Because we're going back to the place that we remembered. That is one of the great things about this game, is kind of the tracking. Well, I see, in Katros, now you're getting into like my sphere of things. Because Katros is saying Cyberpunk will sell regardless. And it will. They've run one of the strongest hype campaigns in a long, long time. Scotty's like, must remember to message Fiona to buy glowing eyes in the dark. And how do you like pizza? Which, to hear that in the pitch black, still terrifying. But yeah, Cyberpunk will sell well regardless. But
a possible last scare for the longing. That being said, Merry Christmas, Will.
It caused more of a freeze than a scare, but Nom Nom Fighter, thank you kindly for the $5. Also, it's still April, which is a very long, long way away from Christmas, why you like this. But thank you kindly. But yeah, Cyberpunk's gonna sell gangbusters, right? Like, either way. But it's the reaction that comes back from that. That's what's gonna be fascinating. And Ikoa, that's a very good point. They've been running a hype campaign for a very, very long time, and usually that's a weird sign. But who knows? I mean, Rockstar have been doing it time and time again. Sorry, you know what? Gonna bring it on back. Because I feel like we're getting into more of the negative, and we can get into the negative side of video games anyway. Favor6, I did not know that the CEO of Rebellion runs a history channel on YouTube. I've met a few of the Rebellion crew, and they're really good. Really good peeps. I still really want to do a video about our experiences with the Hotel Scipio, because I want to campaign it for it to be in Sniper Elite 5. Because that would be one of the few things that would get me to switch over. Sniper Elite 4 is a great game. The single player of it, I played it to death, loved it. But none of the multiplayer levels have the same class and polish as Hotel Scipio. So, yeah. I've been wanting to make a video for them for a while. Also been an excuse to hang out with them more. Their PR teams are real good to us. But they haven't really had too many things that we could get stuck into. One of the last two titles they'd done was The Strange Brigade, which was real cool, but that one's very much a group experience. It's not, that's a great thing to play with a, oh, well, Prolo, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Take care. With, and up we walk, with The Strange Brigade is a great kind of like beer on a Saturday night game with 3 friends. The other one being the Nazi Zombie Army 4, which is a wonderfully over-the-top cheese fest, and again shines when you're playing it with like a group of friendos, like co-op. It does also have a running attack shark, so I'm out. So we haven't really been able to do anything with Rebellion of late, but yo. Also, but like I said, we're putting a pin in the Cyberpunk campaign, the Cyberpunk discussion, because, yeah. Right. We covered it. Got it. Can put it over there. God, I forgot how long it takes to get here. When did we switch over at like 3? It's a good like 15-20 minute walk to get here. Feels like a proper trek, you know what I'm saying? And Shackle, it is nice we only have to get past Angst once. And it is fascinating that in any other game, waiting that long for patience would not have gelled. Thelmsby, I have not played the Final Fantasy VII Remake. An individual sans PS4. I am very happy with the sheer number of people who are enjoying it right now. That is making me very happy. And Thelmsby, yeah, I mean, playing it when it drops on PC, I'd be absolutely down for that. I think the next big one that I'm looking forward to playing with you lot is going to be Death Stranding, because I do feel that its weird pacing and strange, slow, also melodic kind of style, I think will work well with us. Catros, that's a real good point. Sorry, Catros was saying, it's all about expectations. By the time you reach Angst, you know the longing isn't doing anything quickly. So, yeah. Thelmsby, I don't know if we'll do Horizon Zero Dawn, as I don't think there's anything that we can really add to it. I think Horizon Zero Dawn is an incredible experience, but I think it is boring as dishwater to watch. The times when I feel that Horizon Zero Dawn really shines is when you just kind of go off into the brush and hunt and explore and get really into it. And I don't think that is an experience that I could make interesting for you all. Maybe, I don't know, that's my opinion. I am happy to be proven wrong. So I haven't got any plans to stream Horizon Zero Dawn, but I will absolutely sing its praises and recommend that any and all give it a play, because it's glorious. I think it's fair to say Horizon Zero Dawn was the best game to come out the Year of the Bow, and it made me so happy to see Guerrilla doing that, because after the Killzone franchise just kind of... I was really worried about them as a studio, and I knew a lot of people that got out after they made the switch to Horizon Zero Dawn, because there was a real worry that it wasn't gonna happen. Jackal, Year of the Bow just referred to a large number of games that were announced like back to back to back, including I think it was second round of Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Beadora. I haven't forgotten Rumu. I haven't forgotten it at all. That's the feckin' great thing, friends, is we have more glorious games to show off than we have time for. So Tafel is saying, hello, is it possible to play this game AFK? Well, firstly, lovely to meet you. Secondly, yes, we are getting towards possibly the end of our run of this, but larger portions of this happen during downtime. So when you start this game, it starts the timer for 400 days. And that happens in real time, whether you're in-game or not. The main goals of this is to make your little shade's life better. And the better you make their life, the better you improve their little house, the faster time passes while you're resting. The idea being to help speed through the 400 days. There's things to explore and adventures to have. What a lot of friendos here on the Longship have been doing is they've been picking it up and having it as a second screen, because once you've visited locations, you can remember them. And what we're doing now is we've just told the Shade to return to an area that they've been to earlier. They've met. Fucking angst. So yeah. I will also say, Tafel, once we start getting out of the darkness, we're going to be getting probably into spoiler territory. So what I'd like to do is cordially invite you to come join us, because tomorrow we're doing XCOM Chimera Squad for a bit of like over-the-top cheese. But we play a lot of different games here, so you'd be more than welcome back. But I wouldn't want to spoil like one of the endings for you. So yeah. Oh yeah, and Sparky. Floydo's subtle editing of how he takes like a long let's play and boils it down to the little bits that are excellent. I don't think we discuss how good Floydo's editing techniques are. Beater says Breath of the Wild belongs in the Year of the Bow as well. Oh hells yeah, hells yes. And Phyllis, that is very interesting and very much, that is very much an interesting thing that Guerrilla never set forward to create a competitor to Halo, per se, but Sony looked to position it thusly. And to Tristan, what ho, and good afternoon. And I will absolutely pass on to Carrie that you all are very big fans of her editing work. What's that light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, I'm glad I don't have to hold it down, because I got hand cramp yesterday from having to hold the fucking run button, or walk button. But yeah, so one of the things that was interesting was that Sony did position Killzone as kind of like a, you know, as a Halo competitor product. And it wasn't in that space. It was a narrative experience, certainly, and very interesting. But it didn't have its same hooks, and Sony positioned it in a very, very strange way that I would argue was very detrimental to it. But that's just me. After the Killzone franchise kind of stopped selling by virtue of being the only kind of like, the only player in PlayStation's arsenal, I was genuinely worried for Guerrilla after that, and I'm so glad Horizon Zero Dawn sold gangbusters. Oh yeah, and Deus, like, oh, actually, that is a big reminder, is Deus. I need to send you the Blackout Club clips. That is what I will work on this evening. That'll be my project. But yeah, actually editing down a stream into something that is watchable and enjoyable is a monstrous amount of work. And I would love to have enough hours in the day to turn all of our wonderful runs that we do here into like nice, easy little videos that be super cool. No, just no. I would need to be paying someone full-time to be able to do those levels of cuts, and it's not something that is viable for us. Hey, Tristan, congratulations! Tristan says they beat MechWarrior last night. Congratulations. Was the narrative worth it? We are waiting until there's a little bit more pep in the step in terms of content to play through before we return to it proper. But yeah, the affordable choice mercenary company will ride again. We've carried this mushroom all the feckin' way. Yeah, mushroom is friend. So what we need to do now is we need to head up to the area just above the hill. We need to wait till we see the old man walking past us to go to drop his bucket in the well, and then we need to jump in that, because by our understanding, I'm sorry, mushroom friend, survival of the fittest. We can't climb a ladder with a mushroom in our gob. Well, so Phyllis, this is one of those topics where it's a lot more complicated than initially, which is why it's not something that I tend to talk about a lot, because it's a very nuanced topic. So, because what Phyllis was saying is it's something that doesn't get enough attention, is when marketing... Alright, so close and yet so far. We got you, little guy. So we're just waiting for the old guy now, alright? So, eyes on a swivel. But yeah. Phyllis was saying that I feel like it's a topic that about game marketing doesn't always get enough attention. Marketing can drive the initial purchase, but if the marketing doesn't match up with the experience being delivered, it can have a backfiring effect that decreases the brand's value after the initial sale. Well, that is true. However, there have been a myriad of projects whereby the game was never going to match up to the expectation of the concept, let alone the marketing that came before it. And sometimes you gotta drive that pitch, otherwise it just drifts off into obscurity. With Killzone, like, Killzone was a first-person shooter of the PlayStation 2 era. In terms of its narrative, you could pick its arcing narrative from other places. It was all about how it's delivered. The cast was good. It had some interesting and fresh ideas in terms of... it had some interesting and fresh ideas in its story, but a lot of the iconography, the design came from a lot of different places. It's hard to point to its originality. What I'm saying is that... No, that came across as dismissive, and I do apologize. What I'm saying is that it is a game whereby its initial pitch is not necessarily the strongest. It's a game of subtleties. I know that seems weird when you're fighting, like, space Nazis from outer space, and... yeah. With marketing a title, sometimes you need that hyperbole to bring people to market. Because while you can point to in situations where a game has been overhyped, and there has been brand degradation from it, you can also point to situations where a game was brilliant, and no one heard of it, and no one bought it. And while it is sad to say when a game is misrepresented from its marketing, a lot of the times when that has happened, they've been able to do a sequel because they sold enough that they didn't have to look for new jobs. If that makes sense? I mean, Dark Thelsby, I can only comment on how much I remember, but the actual overarching story was really good. I remember as soon as I got the double operative as a selectable character, I played as nothing but him, and his story, his tales, like the banter was fucking brilliant. Also, like, Guerrilla know how to make a shooter or how to make a kinetic action game that just feels brilliant. So yeah, I'm not condoning marketing campaigns that overhype or outright lie. It's nuanced, friends. And with most studios that aren't, like, owned by a big expensive publisher, a lot of the time you're living essentially game to game. If one game doesn't sell, sorry, shut the doors. It's been a good run. Lovely to meet you. Like, okay, I feel that it's somewhat flip-flopping to use this as an example, but let's look at the current state of No Man's Sky. The current state of No Man's Sky is pretty glorious from what I've been told, including power suits and base building and shared multiplayer experiences and all of that goodness. It had none of those on launch, which it promised. But because of the sheer amount of day one sales thanks to the Sony hype machine and what's-his-face Murray doing the whole talk show circuit, they sold so many units and have been able to use that money to continue to support that game and create something awesome. If they had marketed it as exactly what it was at launch, then that's all that would have been. I'm not making a case for lying to consumers here. I guess I'm just telling stories. I'm telling stories from these kinds of spaces. And again, Fearless, I hope this doesn't feel like I'm attacking your point, because I'm absolutely not. There are large swaths of games whereby, because of how they were marketed and then the products not matching what came alongside, there's a lot of IPs that have essentially been run into the ground. It's real sad. Hey, Pun Spectre. What, oh friend? We're waiting for an old man to come get some water. How are you? Pun Spectre, this is the end. We're waiting for the old guy to come pick us up. We've decided that's how we're gonna clear this. So we're just having a teeny tiny little chat. Oh yeah, and Kadros, I don't want to dismiss that either. Users were promised a very specific experience that was not available at launch. They were essentially sold a daft product. Oh yeah, and sorry, jumping back in, Ark of the Conclave, with the fact that every solution to this puzzle is just wait, is very strong. That it is a game about patience. Oh, and Greenfire, have yourself a wonderful rest of your evening. Get some sleep, friend. And, yeah, Fearless, I have similar stories, which I absolutely cannot tell because of NDAs. Suffice it to say, I've been on the receiving end. And one of the things that's really lame about understanding the industry as well as being a fan of it is knowing that sometimes doing the wrong thing is the right move. And I hate it. Like, friends, I really want a utopian... I'd love to see a utopian industry where good games sell just based on the virtue of what they are and what they have done, and that bad games kind of drift off into obscurity, forgotten. I wish that were the case. So... and Sparky, I've actually not read Blood, Sweat, and Pixels yet. It is very much on, air quotes, the list. With a few of those, I guess I've been hesitant to actually pick it up and read it because it's either going to be too real or it's going to be wrong. So Deus has said, still, the marketing was, as you said, a lie. They managed to redeem themselves, but God, it's a prime example of bigger companies going to take examples of let's go rob gamers until one gets class actioned into closing. Very true. And the thing is, Hello Games couldn't afford a class action. Sony wiped their hands clean of Hello Games and they managed to survive. Days, I don't even have hours in a day for audiobooks right now. It's killing me because, like, I'm not listening to podcasts, I'm not listening to audiobooks. I don't have a commute. But that's another story. I also don't have a commute, so I don't have to spend... I don't have to wait at a rainy bus stop for a bus that may never come. But anyway, rolling it back. It was interesting during No Man's Sky to see how quickly Sony distanced themselves from Hello Games, despite Sony being a big part of the marketing push. Like, Hello Games, before No Man's Sky, made games like Joe Danger. They didn't have access to, like, mainstream American talk shows and stuff like that, so it's interesting. But it's another little blip and point in gaming history. If they hadn't overhyped and sold millions of copies early on, they wouldn't have been able to get it to the point that it is now. If they'd been honest, then the game wouldn't have sold. Now, there's also another way of looking at this, which is if they changed the development model. If they'd gone for a games of service model initially, like early access it, you know, keep the team small and focused, slowly rolling out like little features, like look at it as like, we're not going to make this as a box product and release it. We're going to be developing this in the way that they would end up doing. There is a way they could have pitched that to a market that would have been like, yeah, okay, no, you know what, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. But, I mean, that's another story. Moose is saying if they hadn't been beholden to Sony, that's precisely what they would have done. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, the games industry is also full of people with great games who are crap at business. That's the nature of. We're often taught that if you are a great creative, like if you're great as an artist or a writer or something, that you must automatically be good at business or automatically be good at management or what have you. No, business is hard. Business is real hard. Hey, British Beaver. What, oh friend? There is also a massive amount of survivor bias when it comes to these stories. It's something that gets talked up a lot at GDCs and things like that, that we don't really talk about the failures because those companies just disappear into the wind. But that's another story. Captain Steph, all hail die for you! The idea! Yeah, I've got my little feckin' mission. See, if we hadn't done the longing this evening, I was actually going to do some evening grinds on the Blackout Club, because I need to try and get everything... I want to try and get everything together for Friday, but I don't know if I'll have time. That was like, apparently Danny Trejo plays Animal Crossing. I can see that. Like, a lot of people are playing Animal Crossing, and that's okay. I mean, at some point I will get Blackout Club, lol. At some point I will get Animal Crossing and just settle into like a week of just binging it. But one of the things that's really interesting about it is that with everything currently, I'm super busy. I don't have time for Animal Crossing, and that's kind of cool because I feel like I'm doing some good in the world, you know? Danny Trejo, everybody's kick-ass granddad. And Keita's playing Animal Crossing right now. There we go. And Shackle, I did see that story doing the rounds of Elijah Wood showing up in someone's island because they had really good bell prices. Dreamed about a well. We'll buy the well. Alright. We should be able to see from here without the inspecting the wells. Oh! Well, Villas, I am spoilt for food lately, and I believe Fiona's cooking up a storm this evening. But, yeah, that sounds real good. That sounds real good. I mean, Animal Crossing dropping at the perfect time as well. I'm really happy that Animal Crossing has done as well as it has. It's definitely been one of the ignored Nintendo franchises, and I would be really happy to see it do great. Do you know what I'm saying? It was such a weird, underserviced title, especially with like Western releases. Oh, and Sparky, sleep well, friend. I'll highlight this part, and the dog videos, so you'll be able to see how this all goes down. The other thing I've realized is, much like a stakeout, we have to watch this like a hawk. Tomray, Watto? Yeah, we are waiting for an old bloke to come get some water. By my calculations, it's still very, very early in the day. I think there's a way you can work out. So we're waiting for the old man to come across to go get water. As soon as he does, I'm going to rush to the well, get on in with him, and go from there. We just need to make sure that the little troll isn't the one who goes across, because if the little troll picks us up, then we're going to have a bad time. This might be a very long chat show, as I've realised I have no idea how long it's going to take him to come across. But, got another challenge. Okay, friends. I don't know why I am not excited about an Assassin's Creed game starring Vikings, but I'm not. And I'm not saying that it is on you to convince me. I am not saying that... I don't know. Perhaps it's the Ubisoft approach to yearly releases that they've done in the past. But I'm just like... Like, I should be... I should be super excited for a game that lets us sneak around as a Viking and hack people up. But, I don't know. And Moose, that's a good point. It is on Assassin's Creed to convince. It is the job of, you know, the hundreds of people that work across all of Ubisoft's different regions and countries and territories that work together to put assets forward. Deus is like, he's just internally denying the fact he's been ready to assemble a Viking assassin cosplay for years. Oh yeah, today is the stakeout. We're not going to go until we catch this guy. There'll be a trailer about it tomorrow. Okay. Jim saying, probably because the Assassin's Creed's drifted further and further away from the original purpose of the game. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. And Moose is asking, for curiosity's sake, have you given Origins or Odyssey a shot? Origins, yes. There's a formula currently for a large amount of Ubisoft's open world environments, including like the leveling systems and things like that. That the leveling system for me felt very at odds with Assassin's Creed as a whole. The idea that you can't stab that guy in the neck because he's a level 20 and you're a level 5. I'm like, but he's a human with a human neck. I've been doing this since the Crusade. I cut a finger off to do this. I don't know. Origins didn't sit with us, and I don't want to go into Odyssey with the same kind of detractive opinion. And that's on me. That's on me. I'm not saying that the game is bad. I'm saying that I've not gone into Odyssey to... Yeah. Oh, and Katros, that is the other thing that... that Charles McGrin is... As the series of Assassin's Creed has gone on, its departure from history has continued more and more and more. Because Katros was saying, calling an entire time period of a few countries the Viking Age. I mean, but you know the games I've worked on and my feels on it. I mean, what are air quotes referred to as the Vikings by a lot of like English-speaking countries is actually multiple different time periods with cherry-picked little elements. And Sailor's like, and the conversation of the channel drifted from Assassin's Creed to Prince of Persia. Oh, there's a series. There's a series and a half. Oh, well, Nom Nom, I really hope sleep does help with that. And if you can't sleep, we'll be here, yo. Captain's just like, wait, Assassin's Creed uses history? Well, if you remember how it was, like, the representation of Venice from a historical standpoint was spot on. Like, it was top tier. The historical elements around it got murkier and murkier as they folded in more historical figures, adding their, like, their Templar or assassin backgrounds, but it does feel like as the series progressed, it got looser and looser with history. Zelsby's like, I wonder how much of the Viking Age they'll get wrong. assume a lot. Assume a lot. I mean, feck, because what I was going to say is, like, Total War has done games involving, you know, Nordic raiders, but, like, the amount of, air quotes, what would be described as Vikings, the amount of times in which they've had an influence on European history, it wasn't like they just rocked up for 20 years and just went around kicking everybody's ass. Yeah, and Fable 6, that's a good point. Like in the UK, we tend to use the catch-all of the Norse for those that came across in boats and kicked the snot out of us. So cheers for giving us gingers. Sorry, I'm big a terror. But yeah, with Total War, like we had Proto-Vikings. We had Proto-Vikings, then there was Britannia, which was late age, and then God, yeah. Now, at Moose, using Assassin's Creed Odyssey as a talking point for history is great. I had Soraya on as a guest for when we did to shark. It's always a shark. It's always a fucking shark. Sorry. Thank you kindly for the follow, and I hope you're doing well. When we did the FPS Prince of Persia roguelike, I want to say City of Brass. And using those games as a spring point for talking about history is fucking great. Oh, and Hayshift, you're right. Games don't have to be historically accurate. They are under no obligation. And one of the things that we said with Total War a lot is Total War is not a historically accurate game. It is historically authentic. Because the idea being is that it's meant to represent a snapshot of history with the equipment, technologies, and players that were there, and as well as we can know in the time period. And then, bam, you do whatever the heck you want. I was explaining to Fiona the other night, because Fiona's been rewatching Outlander, and, I mean, okay, we're not even going to get into the historical accuracies of that show. Oh boy. But I was explaining how with the Total War games, you can completely subvert history, which almost, I mean, you're encouraged to. And if you got all the DLC for Empire, you could start as one of the native peoples of North America, kill all the colonists, unite the clans, unite yourself as to one kind of like nation, and then start waging war on Europe if you wanted to. That's feckin' rad. Games are under no obligation to accurately portray history, but there is a responsibility that if you are putting that forward as your doctrine, if it is a game about historical accuracy, if it's a game that says this is how it happened, you have a responsibility to represent that to the best of your ability. Because, I mean, fighting against misconceptions in history is something that people have been doing since time immemorial, and if your wish is to do alternative history, say that. If your wish is to take the spirit of a time period and just delve into that, that's fucking cool. Like, okay, here's the one that I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to FromSoft's next title, because they have said, hey, Cryostix, what, old friends? Coming in. They've said with their next title that it's going to be based heavily on kind of like Nordic myth, the Nordic pantheon, if you will. So it's taking the inspiration, Elden Ring, thank you, Jeralan. It's taking the inspiration and it's carrying it forward. It is looking at the heart of it, of what it's, and how they're going to disseminate that. It's going to be feckin' rad. You know? Especially considering that the gorgeous style and feeling and heart of Sekiro, which absolutely does not represent any historical time period, and yet at the same time it felt grounded. That's always something that I find interesting. It's one that I kind of talked about a lot. Like, I still remember getting hate about Rome 2's incorrect number of straps on the sandals. Like, if you try to go the historical accuracy route, there is also a case where you can't please everybody, but... yeah. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see. The one I haven't been able to bring myself to play is Assassin's Creed Syndicate, because it's set in London, and I know it's going to cause me to grind my teeth into a fine powder. Video games have a strong potential which other mediums don't when it comes to a lot of historical authenticity, and the one thing that Assassin's Creed 2 did so well was the actual setting of Venice was so authentic. Like, it was really cool actually going there later on and being like, hey, I know that bit. That's cool. And yes, I am a massive cheeseball. I did go to the Street of Assassins. Although the Street of Assassins, not named so because of, like, cool parkour ninjas flipping around the rooftops, but named thusly because it was the site of the most amount of muggings, murders, and stabbings, because it was the only stealthy route from the red light district to the water that wealthy individuals who wished to remain very anonymous could take while getting to the brothels. So it made it prime territory for feckin' like ambushes, stabbings, the whole shebang. Tomari, I didn't get any additional hidden blades because I need my digits. But yeah, there is also something to be said for, like, Ubisoft's iterative design does seem to be more and more removed from its original concepts. And again, I think I'm just bullying the new Ghost Recon because I played it this week. But it presents you with a premise and then layers more and more and more Ubisoft on top of it, which really does not fit the experience as a whole. The reason I went back to Wildlands or Ghostlands, whatever it's called, is because they've done something very interesting with it. They are actually allowing you to... They are actually allowing you to change and tailor the experience to what you want. So you can turn off gear, like gear score. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with how much information the HUD gives you, how much information the map gives you. Like, you can turn it into a game where you have to orienteer your way through the map to find your way forward. And I really love the idea of this. Like, that Ubisoft big budget doing something really meaty and in-depth. However, the Ubisoftiveness still bleeds through. Oh, you little fuck nerd! Sorry. Well, I'm going for a drown a child in a well. I'll be back in a sec. Friends, I'm very sorry for losing my temper there. I'm very sorry. The little bastard child. We're waiting for the lovely old bloke, not this little scumbugger. So Dash says, hey Will, could you do me a favour and quickly check the well while we know nothing could happen? Yeah, sure. Little bastard. I was having a pleasant time thinking about nothing. Gingers, am I right? Yeah, the troll just trolled us. So mad. So mad. It's not a coal. It's not a coal. Well, as we're not sticking around for the king. Alright. So we can still get back to the hole. That's fine. And I'm pretty sure the old man's not going to show up immediately afterwards. Alright. We're back to waiting. Sorry, yeah, and I apologize, because this does... I feel like I've been getting into a real kind of, like, negative spin this afternoon of just, like, Ubisoft's terrible, and here's why. Like, they're still making games, they're still belting it out in a time which is very, very difficult, so I don't want it to seem as if I'm just hating for hate's sake. I guess what I would add... I really want to see them use their massive budgets to do some interesting and fresh games again. And I really respect a lot of what they use their resources for. One of the most fascinating things is that the Uplay system that they've got interlinks with all of their games, right? So, fine, just pick up the coal. We've got gold and coal, it's fine. So what this means is that anytime you start playing a new, like, Ubisoft game, you suddenly have a bunch of unlockables that you can use. I think it's really powerful. The way to get more of their kind of, like, Ubisoft fun coins is not to spend money, but to play the games. They reward you with these in-game points for doing Chivos, and then when you start a new game, you can spend those for unlockables. And in some games that's really good because it means, like, if you suddenly start playing, I don't know, Rainbow Six Siege, there are a bunch of gun skins and character skins and cool stuff you can unlock because you have been playing other games. It essentially gives you that initial hook without it being focused around, like, spending. The problem is that in games where additional blocks of items undermine the experience, you can basically start out as a badass. Again, I'm going to pick on Wildlands again, because feck it, or whatever the Recon Ghost face. Like Sonic Heroes for gun people. With that one, I was able to unlock a whole ton of equipment and healing items and stuff early on. So when I'm supposed to be, like, crawling around afraid of these bad guys in the jungle, like, oh no, your team's been wiped out, you've got nothing. And I'm like, but what about this super magical machine gun of I win, which I just suddenly seem to have because of U-points. Kablam, I win. Kablam, I win. I don't mind the initial, like, pacing of the threat. Jaradan, I was interested in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Then you reminded me that Uplay exists. Sorry, not sorry. Alright, come on, old man. I know. Welcome to this exciting, rip-roaring gameplay. So what are we chatting about? One thing I will say is, as, like, Norse mythology and Viking culture is becoming more and more in, I do like that we're seeing more and more titles that aren't just, you do the thing, and then let's apply Vikings like the baddies. I mean, hell, let us not forget that Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is set in one of the small, like, island villages which were frequently raided by varying ships from the Nordic regions. And that its whole narrative is, like, intertwined with a very interesting part of English history that never gets talked about. Fable 6 just found out in... Wait, Dead Island 2? Dead Island 2 didn't come out. Do you mean Dying Light 2? Sorry, Favor, I didn't mean to jump onto that one. It was more like... Because Dead Island 2 was announced feckin' donkey's years back and still hasn't been... We still don't know if it's coming out. But we do sadly know that... Despite sounding like it, the voice in the trailer was not Jack Black. Oh, and Delsby, yeah, okay. You are right that Hellblade does use the Norsemen as villains in an extremely good way. Y'all should give Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice a run. It's an exceptional game. One of the things about it is you're never really sure how much of the monstrous appearance of the Norsemen is their appearance, or how much of it is her perception of them. But that's a whole other kettle of monkeys. Oh, it's Dead Island Definitive Edition. Okay. Sorry, it was more Fable 6. If they had announced Dead Island 2 getting a proper release date, that would be a big diddlio. Okie dokie lokers. So Jim was saying, how would I go about tossing you a Steam game? If you want to add us on Steam, that's not a problem. Just make sure you're your Steam name is the same as your Twitch handle or your what have you, or send us a key. Come on, old man. Surely you need some more water after this. You're thirsty. You're old. You're tired. You've got dodgy knees. Yeah, so Thelmsby, I was going to leave that one alone, but yeah. You're right that, yes, the word Viking doesn't actually mean Viking people, but due to how history is categorized, it is a word used by English-speaking territories to describe either a specific group of people or an individual, it is used to describe a culture and individuals within that culture. There's so many terms in history where, because of how English-speaking countries have categorized history, where we have named entire swaths of history things that are completely incorrect. But we are at the point now where that is used as a language to describe them, so thus it has become a term in use. Yeah. Etymology of historical terms is an agonizingly painful discussion, because what is right and what is used is seldom the same. It's a whole mess of one. I am going to ask if you've got a topic choice you want to throw on in. I would love it, because it is nothing against any of your good selves, but I'm getting forum thread flashbacks of being called an idiot and a liar by using the English language term to describe terms from the ancient world of which we don't have like an equivocant. Bunnies, they are feckin' cute. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a scientific fact. It's a fact I know in my heart. Salem says Linkin Park's trending on Twitter. Where? Do I need to worry? Thelmsby, what are your thoughts on the Resident Evil 3 remake? I thought it was glorious. It absolutely embraced the heart and spirit of the original project.
Are we sad because we can't get to the outhouse?
Do you mean the outhouse up there? Or the outback? Oh, I fucking killed my own joke. I was going to go for an Outback Steakhouse joke, and I killed it. And for that, I am sorry. Vanderbeest, thank you for the 200 cheer, friend. So yeah, Thelmsby, Resident Evil 3 Remake was absolutely inspirational, and it tapped into not only what that game was, but what it was trying to do in its heart. Like, Jill Valentine getting to be a 90s action star in the same vein as Ripley or as Sarah Connor. Feckin' great. Feckin' great. One of the things... One of the things that I'd be interested to look at is that how could you distill that same energy from Dino Crisis? Like, Dino Crisis 2 is unapologetically, like, the Lost World sans a moral conscience. Like, your goal is to kill as many dinosaurs as possible while completing missions. You get paid in dead dinosaurs. Sorry, you get paid for all the dinosaurs that you do a murder. Nitro said later stages of Touhou Lunar Nights is like stepping on a rake with a grenade strapped to the end. Oh, good! And yeah, that Dino Crisis 2, but what was the heart of Dino Crisis 1? I mean, it used the whole, like, T-Rex as the antagonist very, very well. Kind of took that flavor from Jurassic Park and brought it through, but what was the rest of that game like? And how would you provide that from there? And yeah, more Dino games, absolutely. Dino Crisis 3 was just... I would love to find out what went so very wrong with Dino Crisis 3. How it ended up becoming this weird, like, Xbox One era horror in space game. Like, fucking wait. Dino Crisis, a game about restaurants. Tommy, so Dino Crisis was during one of Capcom's golden ages. Resident Evil franchise was doing money hand over fist. The games were selling worldwide, and they were trying to find ways to articulate on their Resident Evil style format. Pre-rendered backgrounds, 3D graphics, use of kind of tank control action combat. And Dino Crisis was Resident Evil, but instead of zombies and monsters, it's dinosaurs. You're thrown back in time, I think, to investigate what happened to a time-traveling team or something. You spend most of the game getting stalked by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is feckin' scary as. It was very interesting. Thelsby, I can't look at that at the moment, but if you blep me a thing, I will have a look. I will have a look later. Oh, actually, that's a good point. Quick show of hands: did anyone else pick up Resident Evil 3? Because at some point we do need to give the multiplayer a good run through. Dino Crisis 2, by the way, was the idea that once the base in time had been established, you were part of the team sent back in time to help protect the processing plants that were, like, killing and processing dinosaurs and sending them to the future. So one that had definitely more of an action flavor. Now, the one I'd really, really like would be a remake of Parasite Eve 2 with the same caliber and care that we've seen from the Capcom stuff of late. Because that had way more of the body horror elements than Resident Evil. And especially the sequel did a lot with modular weapons and cool items and stuff like that. Oh, come on, old guy. But yeah, I'd love to see them revisit that proper nasty, like the Thing style body horror, plus some cool kid action stuff. Actually, yeah, there's a good point. What's been up with those franchises and the number 3 entries being a mess? The third Parasite Eve game was on PSP, and it was a trash fire. I played it. Not only did it dismiss a lot of the things that the previous games did right, but it also had this awful combat system where the more damage you took, the more shredded your character's clothes would become, until she was basically just in, like, shredded jeans and a bra, and you're like, why? How? Excuse me. Anyone else suspicious of that rock? Well, I mean, Dark Devils, I touched on that as well. Dino Crisis 3 was set in space with, like, undead dinosaurs in a spaceship, and you had, like, a laser weapon and a jetpack. So there was, aside from terrible camera angles, there was nothing really to add fear to it. It was just bad. You had, like, this fleshy skin T-Rex that was meant to be following you around, but they look like they were missing all of their skin, and I'm kind of like, shouldn't they be in extreme agony and dying? I'm pretty sure they need skin. Quasi, thank you kindly for the 100 bits, and the real treasure is you lot, but thank you. Quasi just wanted to say, just a reminder, you're all a treasure. Yeah. Yeah, Dino Crisis 3 on a spaceship with like weird fleshy zombie dinosaurs. Feckin' wet. Suffice it to say, it was not good. I mean, you can't win them all. I know that. It's just, yeah, there was a strange. There was a strange trend of just the number 3 title in the franchise gets stacking it sideways. Jim says it tried to be Dead Space. Well, this was before Dead Space, so it was still doing that early, you know, sci-fi horror is just you're in space and here's a monster that's a bit gory. Oh no! You know what I mean? Thelmsby. Have I played the Yakuza franchise? I need you to ask that out loud. I have played the Yakuza franchise. I love them dearly. One of the things that was real cool was my flatmate and his buddy would do Yakuza weekends when the new ones came out in Japan, because my flatmate could speak conversational Japanese and his buddy could read it, and I just liked hanging out. So I always want to call it Yakuza Kanwi, but it's not. The one that's based in like post Sengoku Jidai Japan, where you can have like turtle racing and stuff. Like, feck. That one was a fecking triumph, and getting to see that played was glorious. Oh, Favor6 says, I'll always be sad. I haven't found people to play Dino D-Day with. That was the World War II, but dinosaurs. Good times, good times. I'm just checking the hot sheets while we're chatting, just in case any more game news has leapt forward. The only thing I've learned from checking thusly is that we were talking about the Witcher series earlier on today. That unfortunately it has been confirmed that Gerald of Rivia, good old Gerald, what's it called? Gerald, is never fully naked. Sorry. Turns out Gerald's a never nude. Not my call, I'm sorry. Graphite Sparrow says, guess who just picked up Hollow Knight? Is it you? Is it me? Alright, old bloke, come on. Welcome to day 7 on Old Man Watch. Wait, so Thelmsby, no. Yakuza 7 and the turn-based Yakuza game are 2 different titles. By my understanding, the turn-based title, which is escaping my knowledge, you're playing as a different character entirely. And it will have a turn-based combat system with summons and all sorts of glorious stuff. Whereas the next tentpole Yakuza title has got a different one. Why am I understanding? Alright, let's have a look. I thought they were doing a rebrand on that one. Okay, no. I will put my hand up and... I mean... I can't say any more on that, so we're not going to. I nearly got myself into a lot of trouble there. Oh, where is this old bloke? Best Jeremy Irons impression. Long live the king. Ah. Where is this feckin' old bloke? Sorry. The game's called The Longing. We've waited in before. We're gonna do it again. Oh, heck. Yo! To the bus driver Katup. I say what, and welcome. Come on in, one all. Come on in, one and all. As you will see, our raid defense springs into action. How are you doing, friend? What are we streaming? How's it going? We're waiting for an old bloke. Tell us your tales. So to Joachim Kujapas, I killed that one. To Voila Tada, oh, that's a great name. To the Super Bun, better than a regular bun. To Mooring Away, to all of you lovely folks, Watto and welcome. How are you doing? As for us over here, we've been having a great day. We played a stonkingly interesting title. The creator of a game called An Airport for Aliens, currently run by dogs, let us have access to the early build today, and it was so funny. It was just glorious. So we spent a morning in dog puns and silliness. Now we are at The Longing, and we are potentially at the end of it. This game has been an absolute treasure, and there are multiple endings, by the way, to this game. We're only going to be doing one of them, so yo. Bus Driver's doing more of the Dark Souls Whip Challenge, finally killed Snorlax and Pikachu. I hate that I know exactly who you mean. Also got past the Four Kings. Now onto the Scaleless Boy. Good work. All that with a whip. Styling. And yeah, Joachim, it does have absolutely the best title. I believe it was Rebind, their website Rebind was the first time I heard of the title. And as soon as I heard An Airport for Aliens currently run by dogs, I was like, excuse me, how do I get up all on this? Because this is my jam. Alright, and Thelsby, go. Get some sleep. Thank you for providing banter topics aplenty while we wait for the old man to come pick us up. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Who wants to sing?
Hey, XD Johnny XP. Thank you kindly for the host, friend. Apparently we're having a plane come pick us up. So yeah, we've been chatting aplenty and playing some wonderfully ridiculous games today. Game news has kind of calmed down, although we've chatted about it at an exhausting level. But we have mentioned, like, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is getting shown off tomorrow. Talked about, like, all sorts of things. But at this point, like, I am genuinely terrified to go get a cuppa, lest this old guy show up. So that's where we're currently at right now. Oh, that is one of the interesting things that happened. Streets of Rage 4 finally came out. I'm very much looking forward to playing that whenever we get hands-on with. Oh, hey, Katros, no worry. As always, it's been lovely talking and hanging out with you. So I hope your sleep is restful. Get to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're doing XCOM Chimera Squad, so that's going to be feckin' rad. Yeah, and Superbun. An Airport for Aliens, currently run by dogs, is a first-person open-world comedy-adventure game with a very, very long name. So Superbun and those of you who have just joined us, that game is absolutely worth keeping an eye on. And if you don't mind me being too forward, please go onto Steam and throw it on your wish list, give it a follow, because that will help that game along. Like, give it a little boost. Catch us. Do you mean XCOM Friendo Murder Simulator? No, that's XCOM 2. No, tomorrow is Chimera Squad, which is their latest title, which is actually closer in origin to, whatchamacallit, Into the Breach. It's a character-driven story with more of a puzzle tactics approach. The idea being that the characters have very, very different skill sets, and we have to use them to solve it. Atoma is like, how annoyed would you be if you missed the old guy? A little bit. I mean, the kid's been by so far. And friends, this is nothing worse than we've done, like, in the club and stuff like that, but we gotta do it. Oh yeah, and Moose makes a very good point. Most important feature about that game, you can pet every dog as much as you want. Oh, and Captain Steph says their partner picked up XCOM Chimera Squad. Lovely. I mean, I wanted to give it like a week or so after launch because I know there's a lot of peeps in the Longship who wanted to wait and experience that themselves. So I've waited as long as I could. As I'm sure you've guessed, I'm very, very keen to start playing it tomorrow. Tomer says, speaking of the club, finally got good and finished it. Cool. Did you do it as a skeleton or as a ghost? Ooh. So Camille says, well, the base was inspected. Did you come away from aforementioned inspected enthused, or are you looking for new, what's the word? For new siege setups? Further actions will be taken to pursue it. So Tomere managed to clear the club as a ghost. Understandable. I mean, that extra floating time to correct mistakes is very handy. The skeleton's fun. And once you actually get to the tower itself, where you have to, like, jump up around it, you can bypass so many of the crappy jumps. XT John XP has been on Gears Tactics. I've been hearing interesting things about that. From what I've been hearing, it is a genuinely good, solid tactics title. I mean, it's not something I'm in a rush to play, but it makes me real happy when big IPs like that can articulate into interesting places. Let us not forget that the Mario and Rabbids tactics game was actually solid. Like, it was real good. So Camille, further action taken to pursue it. Negotiations have begun for the island base. Oh, did you ask about solid foundations for siege weaponry? I honestly, I think that's an important one to start the conversation about early on. Obviously, I'm going to go Trebuchet, but if a ballista is what you want, then you're definitely going to need like a solid base to go for that. The Dragonator, a little bit more expensive, especially considering, like, you know, Seattle zoning areas, but I think it's worth it. But that's my 2 cents. Like, a Dragonator, I think is worth it. It's a spinning drill spear for killing dragons. Just if you don't have a Dragonator, or if you didn't grow up with one, I can understand you might not know it. Come on, old guy. We got this. But yeah, Camille, real happy for you. I will be crossing fingers, touching aforementioned wood. Here's hoping. Here's hoping. Okay, so Camille's saying that building further structures will have to be negotiated after acquiring the land, unfortunately. I mean, that's understandable. That's understandable. Super bun with, yes, the Dragonator. Or as I call it, the Admiral's Overcompensator. It takes me a siege weapon to do what most people can do with a bunch of swords and a bowgun. But But no, Camille, that sounds badass. I like some proper real-world stuff, yo. Dash says, the tree, second from the right, has a cat snout in it, and I can never unsee it. Oh, and now neither can I. Perhaps I would have said bunny. It's got like a weird, like, bunny from the shadows with the flop-down ears. And as we well know, the shadow rabbits are not to be trifled with. The infamous bunch tree. Oh. Yeah, sorry. I know I've talked about this a fair wedge. I am so terrible for being productive in my downtime. I keep looking over and seeing all the stuff to get set up. I've got a wiggly arm mount now. So if we ever want to do another crafting stream, it doesn't have to be at like weird angles. I can actually make it a little bit better. Got some better lighting for it as well. I have proper better lighting for in here, which I have not set up yet because I'm a terror. Yes! Rolling around at the speed of sound. Go, 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 go. Alright, here we go. Run, you little... This could be it. This could be it, friends. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Pick up them little feeties! Come on, come on. Move, little shadow, move! Did we miss it? Oh, I hope we didn't miss it. I really hope we didn't miss it. Okay, here we go. Look, a bucket. Should I jump in? I have to hope the helper above is not too easily scared. Who it might be? Alright, please. Please be okay, please be okay, please be okay. I've reached the outside world, but at what cost? I can finally see the sun, although it's not shining too bright today. Tributary. Might want to redraw that water. It's got feet in it. I feel like... I like the feeling of grass under my feet. It's numbingly pleasant. I mean, it's nicer than having to, like, slip slappity on concrete all the time. Inspect the stones. I wonder who carried all these stones here. So Faber's like, what if the Shade is the king under the mountain and you just ruined a reincarnation cycle? I guess we'll never know. I mean, if you all want to find out, there are adventures to be had. What kind of person would live in a place this small? Yeah, not ruin, evolve. We are our own cycle now. This is so cool. little friend's never seen the outside world. Oh, there are the bloody curtains. Did you steal it from here? What a beautiful place. I think I will enter this newfound kingdom. I might put off going inside just for a bit. Let's stay outdoors for a little bit. We're in no rush. Oh, I can't use the swing. Oh, kid, you've got a lot of experience to do. Help grow some plants out here. Oh, Dash is saying, in case anyone asks, this is not where I got my curtains. Turnips. Turnips and beets. Investigate. The inscription reads, "Deep beneath the earth, here is laid a poor soul who is now forever lost." Is that maybe us? There's fresh flowers on the grave. I don't intend on escaping this realm quite yet. Huh. Yeah, I guess we'll go check the house first. I guess we are the mountain now, right? Did anyone else feel like waiting for the old man took way longer than it actually did? Yeah, this little tune is so happy! I'm glad the sun wasn't like deathly blinding when we came out. I'd be livid if it turned out we were like a vampire shade or something and just burst into flames. I'm definitely digging this whole, like, prog rock album come to life style that this game has had. Alright, let's enter the door. Ha ha ha! Apparently, Gammy Frog's not having any of this. Yep, we got scrubbing. So we got out and we got adopted by the little family. And the troll doesn't seem to be freaking out, so I guess we're doing well. Yeah, it seems like the whole time we were just covered in underground coal dust. The longing has ended. His face and his hand broke off. King is dead. Whatever machinations or plans or schemes he had died with him. face was... I wonder. But if we want to, we can just go back to here. Look at the shade trying to work out what a cup of tea is. So we did it! We fucking did it! So Dash says they're gonna go find out. Gonna park their shade at his house. Come back in a few weeks. Ren Shady's... Go on YouTube, watch different endings. Well, Ren Shady... I wouldn't say don't do that, but this game has been a glorious experience, and friends, if you've been watching along, maybe go have your own adventure. This game felt very personal, even though it was all of us playing it together. Go have a crack at it for yourself. And apparently this was based on an art project at a place I cannot pronounce. There's a lot of umlauts involved, but... Oh. That's all getting on. It cracks me up that our little shade was a person, a living person, but was just left underground, just covered in coal and... I mean, this is still kind of sinister. Longing has ended. There is no place left to go. But he's having a good time! Having a great time. How's the king doing? Back to the shade. Oh. Yeah, this game was an absolute treasure to play through, and I can't recommend it enough, friends. Can't recommend it enough. Oh, what a feckin' good day. You feckin' did it, yo. Yo, that was the longing. There's probably a ton of stuff in that game that we didn't find, but I hope that you do, you know what I mean? We didn't clear every achievement. I think we missed out on 4. We didn't manage to do Mushroom Gardening, Avid Reader, Never Ending Notebook, or Birthday. So we missed out on those. Oh, that's cool. So there's an achievement for finishing the game, but there aren't multiple achievements for multiple endings. There's no wrong ending. Interesting. Yeah, and to Dreamer, it's interesting that the Shade's music at the end is so quirky and happy, and the King's is dead grim. And you remember how much of the underground world was so somber and so... pressing's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Also, smooth jams. Thank you. And Camille's, yeah, it did though. The king seemed to have stuck in the chair. The whole kingdom built for someone else to have. It's a good point. But yeah, like I said, friends, I really hope you pick this up and that you have your own adventures. I will want to hear about them. Oh, what a feckin' glorious time. So I tell you what, friends. I tell you what. I think that's the perfect place to bring this to a wrap today. I know this is a little shorter than we do today, but what I want to do is I want to clip that one as a nice little ending, and I want to do the same with an Alien Airport for Dogs. So what we'll do is post-credits, we'll roll on over to Fiona, who's currently playing some Stardew Valley, and then you can get my sorry ass kind of lurking in the side wings. How does that sound, friends? How does that sound? Oh, favor! Make me dab on an ending. Why? What did I do to you? Why am I... terrors, the lot of you. Well, we finished the logging. Haven't you? God darn it. Criminal! We need to add more things to bait people away from dabs. You lovely, lovely Mother Hubbards. I want to say thank you for a wonderful day. I am always happy when we bring in devs. Even though Xavier was kind of chilling in chat, like, all the lovely things that you lot said. I actually have a little thank you letter from him saying of, like, thank you for the comments and the feedback and the jokes. Not just the bartender as the bartender. So, you all used your powers of punnage and positivity to genuinely make someone's day. Someone has put a lot of hours into creating a game that I think we're really going to enjoy. So, yo. This has been a cracking day. And I can't believe we finished the longing. I'm so happy at the ending we got. But it's interesting that it was very much the experience up until that point. Does that make a weird kind of sense? Oh, and Dash, thank you. I'm proud to have you in there. Like, I'm just the flag waver. It's you lot that make this. So yo, what a cracking day. Yeah, that ending gained a ton of power from the journey, and I think that's. Yeah, I'm gonna be processing that ending for a while, but it was real happy. So yeah, friends, let's roll some credits because I have some wonderful people to thank. Then we'll go hang out with Fiona. Fiona's playing Stardew, and I think that'll be a lovely little compliment to a wonderful day. You lot have been a glorious group of humans, and I cannot thank you enough. As you well know, this whole operation is funded by you lot, and the fact that we get to have these wonderful days is because you lot are super generous and lovely. So first off, to Nom Nom Fighter, thank you for the donation, even though you did mention Christmas in April. Bits are one of the main ways that keeps this place afloat. So to Jack Skull, Shackle Draconis, Catros, J-Post, Quasimoto, almost stacked it, Hindle, Vanderbeest, and the League of Anonymous. Cheers, thank you kindly. Your moderation team today was Caffeine, Rhymes of Moose, and Tarlicus, but not Nightbot. Shakaro was our new follower, and to Rit Nelson, Malakath Soldier, Pup Time, and Tavintia. Whether you were on the receiving end of the generosity and hunts of House Carl, or whether you were celebrating some long sprees, it's way cool. Friends, today's just a lovely day, and I know how lucky I am that the lovely days are the norm. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. You lovely, lovely Mother Hubbards.
I control that force through fluid motion.
Let's go hang out on a lovely little farm, while Fiona looks very, very intently at a series of pumpkin seeds. And you know what? I think, friends, between all of us, if we give Fiona some really good advice on Stardew, I reckon she can get her KD up to at least 4. Like, at least 4. What do you think? Oh. Also, I will blabber you lot on the Discords because I need to be better about chatting with you lot when it's not just here, rather than just like basically going into potato mode. Oh, back in glorious day. Oh yeah, and once again, tomorrow, XCOM Chimera Squad. Whether or not that one's a long play, or whether it's just a day we spend on it tomorrow, I don't know. But either way,
clear water.
Looking forward to doing it with you lot. You bunch of cool kids.
Water can take any form. Drifts without effort one moment, then pounds down in a torrent the very next.
And Dash says, oh wait, KD, you're still on KD. Stardew is all about APM and macro. Yeah, alright. I look at it still in KD, and yes, you know, you should have at least 5 pylons up within the first, like, you know, the first potato season. But that's just me. You know how, like, you know, that's how I feel the Stardew meta works. Need more creeps and additional pylons. I do not know why you lot put up with me. I'm terrible at ending shows. I love you all. I'll see you over on Fiona's channel. XCOM tomorrow. Blab me on Discord. I love your collective faces. To be continued.
You see it? I was
Onward!